Hello, friends and neighbors. Thanks for joining us. Smash that subscribe button. Hit that like. It helps the channel grow, and we can't thank y'all enough for your support. Benny, where can they find us on social media, brother?
Yeah, you can find us, Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
We got some hot NFL topics to chat about. We got Ray and Benny's updated CFL Power Rankings. We got some shout-outs. But let's start off with that disappointing Bomber game. I don't know what to say. I probably will know what to say in a bit, but
you know what? It's hard, right? Because we haven't seen the Bombers get beat like that in how many years now? So we're so used to those games not happening, where the defense doesn't look like they have much life in the game, or that the opposing offense is scoring at will and bombing balls, and Claros is throwing interceptions and stuff. It was a weird game. The Bombers were not in it. They were in it at the beginning, and then slowly it's like they phased out, came back in, fought back. But to me, the D was just not on it, and the mistakes by Claros sunk them.
Yeah, Hamilton kicked their ass.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Can't take anything away from Hamilton here. Usually it's Bombers on the other end of this one, and usually in a larger margin. But Hamilton, no sacks allowed. No turnovers by Evans, who threw 5 TDs, over 300 yards. They had less penalties and penalty yards than the Bombers. 130 yards rushing on this Bomber defense.
Yep.
That's crazy. And it all starts at the trenches. Hamilton's O-line dominated the Bombers' D-line.
That's a nice word. In this case, it was a domination. They couldn't get any pressure. Evans had a clean pocket, and that just led to issues with the rookie cornerbacks, and of course even our own, the veteran quarterbacks. Winston Rose even got beat on a long TD, but it was even more telling for the rookies. Parker was having trouble out there, so not a good game all around. Again, This is one, toss it in the wastebasket, take their bye week, get some fresh legs, and we're gonna have to see. Can these DBs hold up? Is Demario Houston going to be back? We know Nick Taylor is probably not back. Houston should be back later in the season, but
good time for a bye.
Yeah.
Good time for a bye to get healthy.
Yeah, and get these guys a little bit more ready.
Yeah, maybe don't throw that game tape out too quickly, because coaching also was an issue. The failure to adjust and make adjustments on the fly, unbelievable. Like, they couldn't get any pressure on with four-man rush, so why not start sending Adam Bighill, whose name you barely heard?
Yeah.
Until he got his 800th tackle, or he achieved something that game. So his name was silent. So was Willie Jefferson.
Yes, big time.
Jeffcoat got hurt. And Buck Pierce, he's got to adjust to that blitz. Same thing happening against Montreal. And if they can't figure that out come playoff time, teams are going to really go after that blitz and really put Claros under pressure, and it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, that first drive by Winnipeg on offense was a thing of beauty. Buck Pierce called it perfectly. Claros executed. And then after that, it was a mismatch, right? Like you said, the pressure, even on the TD that Claros fumbled, guys coming off free. Sometimes Claros is just going to have to take that sack instead of trying to, he's Mr. Escapability sometimes, right? He can get away, but sometimes just take that sack, live for another play. There was the other one where they were driving, and then they put Prukop in on 2nd and 5. And
ridiculous. Why do you do that?
Whatever they ran there, man. And Claros is still in rhythm, and he's starting to heat up.
He was cruising.
Yeah, and then you end up kicking a field goal there, and then instead of possibly getting a touchdown. So, they outsmarted themselves. Richie Hall didn't seem like there was much adjustments there.
No.
And then it wasn't a good one all around at all. And like you say, coaching is to blame as well.
Yeah, like Evans looked like a pro.
He looked like a friggin' star.
Wow. And if they're just finding their rhythm now, I said this last week.
Yeah.
If they start playing well and go on a roll, that's a team you don't want to face in the East Division. And wow, if they look like that, they can beat anyone. If you can beat the Bombers like that, you can beat anyone.
Yeah, let's see if they can do it for a second game in a row. The big game against Montreal coming up this week. So let's see if they can do it and keep that consistency going. And Evans, he's going to be under pressure against Montreal. That D-line's pretty good. So we'll see if that O-line for Hamilton could keep him upright again.
Absolutely. And like we said earlier, Bombers on a well-needed bye, especially for the secondary. And and I think also about that, when Buck Pierce, they figured out the blitz then. They put Michael Couture in as like a tight end. And they're rolling with that. And then they put Krupop in and do a ridiculous play. Give me a break. That was so frustrating. There are a lot of frustrating moments that game as a Bomber.
Yeah, it was a very frustrating game. I know for myself, I was very frustrated at the end of that game and almost angry. But it's like you got to step back a little bit. They're 12-2. Hopefully that's just one bad game, and we'll see them in a couple weeks again.
Yeah. Let's move on to the power rankings of the Canadian Football League after that week. Who's in the basement for you this week?
Good old Ottawa's back down in the basement for me.
Yeah. How could they not be?
Rough bye week for them.
They have Toronto and BC next. That's pretty much going to axe their season. Like, officially. They will be done.
Yeah. I mean, there's chances. I mean, they're running out, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll see what they can do. If they got Toronto this week, right? So if they can pull out a win there, they still got a chance. But if they lose again, and BC's looking better with Vernon Adams, obviously, so
they're not going to win.
Yeah. I'm not picking them to win this week.
Nope.
Probably not.
I have Edmonton at. I also have Ottawa at 9. I have Edmonton at 8. They beat Saskatchewan, but I think that's more of a reflection of how crazy, garbagey things are in Saskatchewan right now, rather than how Edmonton's improved any bit. But I'm keeping Edmonton at 8.
I got Edmonton at 8 as well, and I agree with you on that. Besides, they had 8 sacks. I mean, they dominated that O-line of Saskatchewan, got to Fajardo, but I mean, they still had 12 penalties for 158 yards, like Saskatchewan, and they also had a blocked punt. So there was many reasons for them to lose this game. Saskatchewan just didn't take advantage and let them stick around. So I agree. It's more on Saskatchewan than Edmonton, but good to see Edmonton pull out that victory.
Yeah, it's always fun to see Saskatchewan lose.
And they're imploding.
Yeah, much love, y'all, to Regina. Who do you got at 7?
You know what? I got Hamilton at number 7. Big win, of course. Obviously, we just talked about that, but not enough yet to bump them up too much farther. We'll see if they can do it 2 weeks in a row. Yeah,
I have Montreal at 7. Interesting matchup for them coming up the bye week, going against the Ticats for second place-ish, kind of, because of game in hands. And I have Hamilton at 6. And like I mentioned, this could be the turning point of the Ticats season. A positive wake-up call if there ever was one. So I have them at 6. Watch out, CFL. Watch out.
Yeah, I got Saskatchewan still at number 6 there. Even though I feel like they should be probably farther down that list the way they've played. Yeah. They haven't won too many games over the last little bit. So they're imploding. Fajardo's getting, upset because he's getting booed, and, his comments of, I feel like the whole world is basically against us. Dude, you got to toughen up, especially out in Regina there. They'll turn on you pretty quick if you can't, if you don't have tough skin and can handle those boos.
Yeah. I have Regina at...
Regina.
Yeah, they used to be. I have them at 5. And pretty much only because I respect their roster still. Something could happen. I don't know. I don't know what Jason Moss is doing, but I have them there.
I have Montreal at 5, so we'll go to that one. But Jason Moss again, though. But that whole offense just wasn't good. They couldn't get the running game going.
No O-line.
So
all year.
But the thing is, how did you get that running game going against the Bombers? Like, they was churning, at least in the Labor Day game, it was churning pretty good. And then you can't get it going against the Elks of all teams. So
a couple teams have gotten the running game going against the Bombers. Hamilton,
we've seen Calgary light it up. So
jeez, and that's a big running back in Hamilton too. And they're creating holes. He was getting 1-2 yards past the line of scrimmage without getting touched.
It was anyone who was in there.
But I'm talking about Hill. That's a big back.
Yeah,
like you need to create big holes for a big man to get through like that untouched. So
there was a lot, and there was poor tackling too by the Bombers, so that didn't help either. So
goodness gracious, I got Toronto at 4.
Yep,
coming same with me. Bye, winnable matchup. So
they should cruise to an easy first in the East in a first round bye. I would assume. I can't see them blowing that. Considering Hamilton and Montreal play each other, right? Unless Montreal wins, I guess then they're right on Toronto's tails. But like you say, Toronto's got Ottawa, and we don't expect that to be a loss. So
no. not this year. I got Calgary at 3.
Yeah, same. You got to do that.
Like, it's a surprise loss to BC, but at the same time, we even talked about last week, James Butler. We thought maybe he'd win. They had a better chance next week, but he was a factor, and they pulled it off. And Vernon Adams, of course.
Yeah, Butler was great. Vernon Adams did enough. He was solid. Nothing spectacular. He's still got to clean up some things, but it's his first time running that offense and being in a game. For Calgary, they're 0-5 now against BC and Winnipeg. And so they've beaten a lot of the worst teams. The only other team they beat with a winning the only team they beat with a winning record is Toronto so far.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're not looking good against these teams, even though these games are close and they've lost 2 close ones to BC. They're still in the wrong end. They've now lost a season series to BC. So if it comes down to a tie for that West semi,
yeah. If I was a gambling man, I would, without a doubt, anything under 50 yards, I'd gamble that Paradis is going to make it. Yeah, and he missed a 48-yarder.
Yeah,
to win the game. So it's going to be a good one next week.
Yeah, the rematch, and this time in BC, Vernon Adams, a little bit more comfortable with the offense.
Oh yeah, that's a thing.
This is a big game. Calgary cannot lose this game because otherwise their chances are pretty slim to host anything. Obviously the West Final or the West hosting the West Final would be out if they lose. Yeah, but the West Semi, would also be lingering in the balance there if they lose this one. I can't see them losing 2 in a row, but we'll see. We'll see. They need one.
They usually say it's hard to win a back-to-back, but when you're bringing in a newer quarterback with more wrinkles in the playbook than you saw the week before, it could be difficult or it could be easier for BC to win a back-to-back than usual.
Yeah.
And, of course, Winnipeg's still at number 1. Tough loss. Like we said, we already did our whining, crying, complaining, and whatever, belly aching. But it is time for a bye week.
Yeah, still number 1 for me, too. Going back to that BC Calgary game, did you hear about Cameron Judge sucker punching Lucky Whitehead in the head?
Yeah.
And, of all the stuff that was apparently Whitehead was talking crap about Judge's family or something on the field the whole time. So
you don't do that.
Yeah, we don't know what the whole story is, but what a crazy situation there. And then they had an issue after the game in the parking lot or something like that.
Yeah. Well, don't talk about someone's family.
Yeah.
Hey, if you don't want to get, if you want to get an eye jammy, don't do that. He deserved that if he was talking about his family. If that's a true story, man. That's an eye jammy for sure. And in the bye week, they got to find a way to stop the blitz.
Yeah.
Whether they keep a running back in there, because we even talk about Andrew Hill was great. Andrew Harris was great against protecting against the pass rush. But they don't really leave anyone there.
No.
To chip or help out. So they got to figure that out. Buck Pierce and the offensive line coach and all that.
Yeah, I fully expect that's something to be they're looking at for the next couple of weeks over the bye week and into the next week for sure, cleaning that up because Claros has definitely been under pressure and teams have now figured that out. If they can get that pressure and bring an extra guy, they're kind of getting through. So,
well, they went through this through Montreal. You think they'd have it in their back pocket already?
Yeah, but maybe there's more issues on that O-line that they need to fix, but
we'll see.
They got time.
Couture. You ready to move on to the NFL?
Let's do this.
The NFL, Trey Lance out for the season. That's rough. Jimmy G coming in, saving the day. Jimmy G doing Jimmy G things. So it's good that they signed him.
Well, it helps when your defense doesn't allow any points either.
Yeah.
Makes it a lot easier to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Trey Lance. Even in that game, there was a lot of what is it, read option, zone option plays or whatever that he was running, and it's a lot of power for the guy, and he just doesn't know how to protect himself enough yet. And he took some good hits against Chicago, and I'm surprised he got up. And then he took some good ones yesterday too, and one ended up breaking his ankle and knocking him out for the year. So. Unfortunate. I don't know. Shani didn't seem to even trust him at all anyways for throwing the ball. They were running more than anything. He had ran more than he actually threw himself. But I guess it ends up being good that they ended up keeping Jimmy. At least you got a serviceable quarterback there instead of Nate Sedfeld or something. So we'll see how it goes. Back to Jimmy.
Yeah. Well, what can I really add to that? It's a shame that a young quarterback like that gets taken out. And that's the dangers of getting a running quarterback. When you do have a lot of those options, whether he puts it in the running back's belly or he takes it himself, he's exposed almost either way. But at the same time, that's partially why you drafted him. You drafted him for his legs. So you might have to change that approach.
Yeah, it was always interesting usage of Lance, anyways, over this time, and a lot of people have said, um, they don't trust him to throw. He's not accurate enough, and all that. And it's just like you should have seen this in college tape or something, and not trading 3 first-round picks for the guy if that's what everyone views him as. But and then if you don't trust him to throw in a game when he's in there, what was the point of throwing away 3 first-round picks for the guy? So,
that was stupid.
Yeah,
there's no way you had to move up for that guy and whatever.
I mean, you could have stayed where you were and just grabbed whoever. Mac Jones still would have been there if you really just wanted a guy. I mean, So it's that whole trade, the whole plays yesterday, all that's starting to look terrible for the Niners. So see what happens.
Dolphins with a crazy comeback yesterday.
A few
Tua taking that next step. 6 touchdowns in a game. My goodness, we talked about him. That was one of our hot topics going into the season. Will Tua take that next step? And he looks like he's taking that next step under Mike McDaniel. That offense looked dynamic yesterday in that comeback.
Yeah, it was a crazy game. What did they get? 28 points in the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely shone bright in that game, and it didn't look good, and it looked pretty terrible for the most part at first there. But yeah, he when he got it going, man, getting that ball to Hill, Waddle, man, those two were just amazing in that game.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think that the Ravens would blow a game like that in the fourth quarter.
Absolutely.
I know their D is not as dominant as past Ds have been, but
they got eaten
shocking.
Up.
Yeah, they got destroyed, and then even at the end, letting that last drive for a touchdown, that Miami scored too, when all they needed was a field goal to send it to overtime. Some big plays again on that drive, and Tua looked very poised in there and didn't look afraid.
He's using his athleticism. He's making his reads, which is crazy. And if his reads is not there, these guys are running around and making plays for him. How about the Jets? Are you impressed by the Jets? I'm not, but
it was Cleveland. I don't know how you blow that game like that, like Cleveland did with 2 TDs in the last minute 20.
It's Cleveland.
I know.
That's the answer right there. That's
true. That's true. It's still Cleveland. Still the same old Browns, man. I mean,
sorry, Prison Mike, but it's true. It's true. They're having a tough time, man.
They are, and they got away with one last week in their first game there against Carolina, hitting that late field goal. But in this one, getting the late touchdown by the Jets, and then the recovering the onside, and Joe Flacco took them down for the victory. It's not good in Cleveland right now.
I was trashing Joe Flacco. Way to throw it in my face, Joe Flacco. I still want to see Chris Streveler out there. And another quarterback that I've been trashing, the guy that I don't like to read, Kyler Murray, with a crazy end of the game, him running around in the backfield, making a run for the... Oh, man, his athleticism, I can't deny that.
No, yeah, he may not study the playbook very well, but he can definitely run around like crazy. Yeah. And he was giving the Raiders fits in that second half, and they just couldn't contain him, stop him, anything. And they just... the Raiders blew that game, and then they fumble in overtime in Arizona. When you're in scoring range too, Renfro fumbles, and
twice.
He got lucky. He got the first one back, and the second one got taken out, and they were in field goal range.
Absolutely.
So, terrible ending for the Raiders. They're now 0-2. A big hole in that division. And they've already lost to the Chargers in that division. So
yeah,
we'll see. But great win. Yeah, Kyler Murray was fantastic. Maybe he doesn't need to read the playbook.
Yeah. Okay. Against what defense again? The Raiders. You wrote here, Bengals in trouble. O-line worse than last year. Is that what you believe?
Wow, man. We raved about the O-line signings and whatever the Bengals did in the offseason. And right now, Burrow is just getting beat up, man. And he's taking more sacks this year than he did last year. So
yeah,
Bengals are in trouble. If they can't keep the guy upright, they're in for a long season, and Burrow is going to be in some pain.
Yeah, I think this is a testament also, of a couple things. One, it's not easy for an O-line to gel. It does not take, and especially when you're not playing that many preseason snaps all together, which we know happens most often than not in the NFL. These starters are barely getting time with each other, barely getting time with the quarterback. Their timing's not quite there yet. I'm not quite worried. I won't say that they're worse than last year yet, but they're definitely trending that way.
Yeah, we'll see as the season goes on for sure. But right now, it's not looking good. And I mean, they're 0-2 right now, right?
Yeah.
So it's a tough start to their season, and you want to keep your franchise quarterback safe and healthy to last the season. So hopefully, it does get better in the next game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think this is all about. Well, I didn't really trash Cooper Rush. I trashed Skip Bayless, who believed in Cooper Rush, and Cooper Rush delivered for Skip Bayless. I bet you he's like, I told you. I told you, Ray, he's saying. But yeah, Cooper Rush had a decent game.
Yeah, he managed the game pretty good. He had a good first half, and then they hung on against, Cincinnati and taking it in overtime, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, he did enough, and obviously the D for Dallas is pretty good, so they can help keep these games close enough for Cooper Rush that maybe he doesn't have to do so much. As long as he doesn't make any mistakes, he'll be fine.
50-yard field goal, I think they won it with.
Yeah.
Right
So,
on.
yeah.
Don't forget to join us next episode where we give you previews and predictions for the upcoming CFL and NFL weeks. Don't forget also to don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section about your predictions and your thoughts on NFL and CFL action. You want to talk a little bit of Jets?
Might as well.
I'm
It's
having this
there.
weird thing where I lean over, folks in podcast land, my shirt disappears like every so often. I shouldn't wear this checkered shirt no more. Anyways, you want to talk about the Jets?
Yeah, let's do it. Some interesting stuff happened with the Jets over the last week. So,
What say you?
well, first off, we start off with Wheeler getting stripped of the captaincy,
Yeah.
and the Jets will ride the season without any captain, just assistants. And as far as I've heard, can't remember where I saw it, but Wheeler will not be one of the assistants either.
Doesn't sound like it.
So you're looking, fresh new group. I guess. Well, I mean, you're probably keeping Morrissey, Shifley with A's at least, right? So we'll see what happens there. But interesting turn of events with keeping Wheeler and then stripping the captain away from him and then not giving him an assistant either.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that the captaincy is gone. It's kind of a kick in the ass for a few years ago when we were like, hey, San Jose. Was it San Jose? Where's your captain?
Yeah.
When they visited us, and look what we're cruising the year with, all A's. But I think it's a good positive mood. I think it's a way for Rick Bowness to get a bit of control of the room and still not totally disrespect Blake Wheeler to put the C on someone else right away. So yeah, I think it's a culture change that was needed and necessary, and I'm not surprised by it at all.
Yeah, I'm not usually a huge fan of having no captain and just having assistants. Maybe they should have made Hellebuck captain like Vancouver did Luongo there quite a few years ago. But I do agree with you on this. Bonus has got to come in, take some control of this dressing room, and have things go his way. And that leads into some other comments with Shifley. He was on Friedman's podcast, and he kind of talked to a bit of last year, where he said they didn't know where their direction was last year. System-wise, they didn't know what they were trying to accomplish and why they were trying to accomplish it.
Yeah.
He said there were times it looked messy, disorganized, and unsure what we were doing. So, and maybe that's part of the fact that Pomo came in with a new system, tried a new system on this team after so many years, and it didn't gel right away. And then he left, and Lowry came in and probably put in a different system. So it sounds like it was a whole mess all the way around, from the locker room out to the coaches, wherever. So hopefully Bonus can correct some of this stuff and bring some hope into this next season. At least maybe the Jets could battle for a playoff spot.
Well, why wouldn't they battle for a playoff spot?
No,
I think they would battle for a playoff spot because they're in a tough division, not because they're not a quality squad.
Yeah, but we saw how it went last year, so hopefully Bonus can bring that together.
That's the hope.
And it starts with these guys like Shifley. He's got to become more of a leader. He's got to take more, for his actions. He's got to take more ownership of his actions on the ice and off the ice, and not come across sometimes whiny or whatever. So we'll see. He's got to have a big season, and he's got to come out strong as well, Shifley.
Of the young guys, who would you put an A on?
You got Shifley, you got Morrissey. I'd throw one on possibly on Ehlers.
Those are the young guys, eh? Those are the young guys.
I'm trying to think who the other young guys. There's no one else really younger. Sam Gagner? No, he's not that young.
Oh, no. He's not young at all. Might as well give it to what's his name, their backup goalie.
Dave Rittich.
There you go. He's been around.
Big save, Dave.
Yeah. We'll definitely have more Jets talk at the moment. We'll see what happens. You know me and my thoughts on Scheifele and what he has to say. Prove it on the ice at this point, I'm saying, with him. He's been kind of shaky. His not standing behind his words. He was part of the toxicity that was in the locker room. So, whatever, bro. Just put it on the ice and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, totally agree. He does have to come out firing on all cylinders this season and showing that he can be a leader and maybe he can be the next captain. But we'll see how this season goes and how he takes control of it.
Yeah, funny. So you don't think Dubois should get an A?
Well, I forgot about Dubois. I don't know. He should, but the way his off season kind of went, I know that rubbed a lot of fans the wrong way. But you know, I can see them putting an A on him for sure, because not putting an A on him probably rubs him the wrong way even some more.
For sure, he's out the door. He's out the door.
So yeah, wow, I totally forgot about Dubois. Yeah, there's your young guy.
Yeah.
I thought he was already gone. I thought he was in Montreal. We traded him.
Yeah, he already has one foot out the door. Speaking of captains, they got one in Montreal, Nik Suzuki.
Yeah.
Saying that he doesn't have to get his French better. And then walking back on those comments saying, oh, I learned some French in Ontario. All right, man. All right.
Yeah, I mean, you want to be a captain in Montreal, or if you're going to be a captain, you got to know some French, and you're going to have to learn some French probably pretty quickly. But don't say you're not going to learn any.
No, cultural sensitivity courses for this guy right away. Shout out to the Manitoba Bison football team for beating the UBC Thunderbirds this week, 21-16. I always love it when they beat BC teams for some reason.
Yeah, it's always nice.
They still play Simon Fraser?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I remember like Simon Fraser used to play 4-down ball for a while. And then they came
that's
back
right, eh?
Yeah, then they came back to the CIAU, whatever it's called now, U Sports. That's which way. Benny, do you have anything to say to our friends? We're just mumbling along. Goodness.
You know what? Thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget, subscribe, follow us, check us out. Let us know what you think, and have a good week.
And in the famous words of Terrell Owens, I love me some me. Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.